Okay, you said you were out of the Midwest. Where are you coming from?
So St. Paul, Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'd say God's country, but we're here in God's country.
Yeah.
So I know that.
It's beautiful. It's going to be beautiful for the Brick Lane.
Yeah, I was expecting a hurricane, and we brought boots and all that because Ryan terrified us. But
Hey, look. See, I wore my boots here. I thought it was going to be all kind of muddy.
yeah, and I'm an office jockey at our company, so he was smart to tell me that. But yeah, we have a masonry company in St. Paul, Minnesota, in the Twin Cities, and been in it since I was a kid. My parents had a company in Milwaukee, and they were 35 years throughout their entire career. It was real active in MCAA, so I'm part of the Mason Contractors Association as well, and on the executive board there, just finishing up my term. Yep, but it's been 8 years, and so it's the traveling that you do in the last 4 years of that term is the maybe the biggest commitment, but it's also the most rewarding.
Oh, Mackinac Island I read this year.
Oh, it's fantastic. And my wife and I picked that. We picked that location in Cheryl, and it was fantastic. But the good part is you get to see how everyone else does it, and they're not competitors. You know, people are more willing to share and discuss, you know, the difficulties we face.
Did you start as a mason?
No, I was in radio advertising. I was in,
Really?
My wife and I met at the student radio station at the University of Minnesota. So I had to train her in.
All right. Were you on air, or just were you writing advertising, to write ads? Or
Sunday.
I'll stop, but I didn't have the pipes like you. So it was, I remember giving an air check to local legend in the Twin Cities, Tack Hammer was his name. Imagine that. Tack Hammer. Does that sound like a
That's
DJ?
A great name.
Absolutely. But my wife and I had a morning show at the university, and it was a riot, and we were engaged. And
what was the name of the morning show?
It was, we didn't have a name. It was Dick and Cheryl, you know, or something. I don't know.
all right.
But we enjoyed it and had a lot of chemistry. And I remember, and I was a funny guy. It worked and all that. But Tack Hammer slide the tape back to me. He said, "Yeah, I listened to it." And he had his program director with him. He said, "But Dick, I don't think you have the pipes for it. You have personality. Why don't you get into sales?" And I did. But he ruined it by saying, "But tell me more about Cheryl." So, but she wasn't interested in it. But she did. She would have been really good in it. But then, so I listened to them, and they were very helpful. And we got engaged, and it was whoever got a job first. That's where we're going to live. And I had worked in the trades, paying for college every summer, and paid for high school tuition that way. We went to private school. My dad said, "You can go. You're going to this school, and you have to pay for it." But he gave us a job, my brother and I. And that. But so I did all this. I liked it, but I wanted the other thing. So ended up in the Twin Cities and sold for a great station there, and for 4 years, and made money. It was working.
Yeah.
But I just kept getting kind of pulled back into this, and I asked my folks if they had some work in the Twin Cities. They were from Milwaukee, but I'd worked in the Twin Cities. And my brother was up there, and so they said, "Well, what do you know?"
Okay.
And so I had to write letters to them. But that's how my parents were. So they basically, after a couple letters of why I thought I would add value to the company, they said, "Well, here's what we can do. You start at the bottom in the office." And
were you in the mail room, Dick?
Well, it was a small family. I did it all, payroll, everything. And but I took a 40% cut in pay and sold the car, got a motorcycle because it's cheaper. And then years later, we're doing this now. So it's been a riot. I love it. And it's more now about I think people should enjoy going to work, you know, and you see it now when you see there's people coming back to the trades from accounting positions and that because they want to do something with their hands, and they want a rewarding experience. And so I think we have to work. We have to fill our fridges up and pay for.
Takes a little more these days to fill up those fridges.
But you might as well be happy going to work. And so if you have to find what you see value and reward and ambition, and in the Twin Cities and in the Midwest, we do not have what they've got going on here. I've been warned that they're going to have busloads of people coming in.
It's like 700-800 kids coming.
High schoolers. I mean, it's incredible. And we're trying. North Carolina sets the bar so high, and Ryan has helped us, and we're meeting in our state. And now finally, so that's what's changed, I think, which is remarkable. And it's these events and Brian Carney and all what you guys have done here is incredible. It's now a good idea to send someone to the trades. It's, so often bricklayers were telling their sons and daughters, there's no way you're going to ever do this. I won't let you do this for a living. And that was what I grew up in. Right. And it's changed. Oh, and the counselors have changed. It's like you control your destiny. They've all got nice trucks, cabins, and boats. And
what's this I hear about? You are responsible for, and it's contractually getting students into jobs, actually on site.
Well, how do you mean?
Underage. These are kids still in school.
Yeah,
right?
these are kids still in school, high school students. I heard that there was something going on there to where
we're trying. I know,
or it's trying to get there.
Yeah.
Okay. Explain what's going on there, because that's a big deal.
I don't think it's just our trade.
Okay.
I think it's lots of trades and lots of industries who are saying
on the job experience.
Why is it? Why can they do all these other things, but they can't set foot on a job site or whatever? And there's got to be a way to figure it out. And it's the problem is, I think there's politicians. Some have good intentions or whatever, but they're also worried about image and what they're okaying. And like I said, child labor laws in my household when I grew up I was working, and it was.
Hey, I was washing dishes and washing pots with my dad, who was a chef at 12 and 13 years old. I mean, what's the difference there?
And there were knives and everything else there, and burns, ovens, and that could have stuff happen. But the best thing we can have right now is have experience where young people come out of high school with some kind of clue about what the real world is like, and how rewarding it is to stand up on your own. And I went off to college. My brother, the Monday after he graduated high school, started his bricklayer apprenticeship. He always had money. He had car. He always had a car, and then he'd get another car, and he had an apartment and a house before I did, because I had tuition and schooling, and ended up coming back to it anyway. But it's a good path. And
can't we just do it like we did in school when we had field trips? Can't we have a field trip to the Mason site? Kids, today we're going to go lay some brick. Can you get this permission slip signed by your parents?
Yeah. We always talk about the financial incentives, that the young people have now, and they are terrific. Like you mentioned, these guys are living wonderful lives. But I think you hit it even more on the head when you're kind of leaning towards the satisfaction of a job when you're doing something with your hands. Not only that, but when you walk away, you can turn around and see what you have done that day.
Well, and I won't pretend to know the stats or whatever, but I keep hearing people say that the younger generations are more interested in fulfillment, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And the last thing we want on our job sites is having someone, just waiting till the end and wanting to leave because they can't stand what they do. Whereas if you're fulfilled and you can, the project that these guys build at this age is going to be something they'll remember. It's like holding up a big fish you caught or whatever.
And it's just like, I don't know. I don't see the office cubicle being the place to be anymore. Working hard, a little sweat, a little toil, like you said, Will, seeing those projects when they're done, there is such a great sense of fulfillment. And you can just see that these kids appreciating it, a lot more than, getting stuck in the 9 to 5. And, people do it. I know that they do it, but man.
Well, you need it all.
You do.
And I used to get afraid of all the change, and it's the biggest mistake you can make. And especially, I'm in my 60s. It's frightening, because you can't keep up with it. But it's important to try. And I used to think it was all going to go away, but I don't think it will anymore. We're always going to need this. Yeah. We're always going to need the office. They keep reinventing. We have empty buildings, and in particular in our city and downtowns, and so they're building out elsewhere because the downtowns aren't what they used to be. Well, somewhere along the line, I envision they're going to fix that. Right. Whether it's crime or whatever, they're going to, and then they'll be remodeling and rebuilding all those places. And my daughter works at a big retailer, and they called everybody back in to the office. Well, so they remodeled and built other places. Now they're going to remodel and get that. So it keeps feeding on itself. We shouldn't be afraid of that, and we need more young people in the trades.
Yeah, I understand exactly where you're coming from. Change, there's a fear in change in itself. Seems like now, since we're seeing security in masonry, especially over the last few years as it's growing, seems like the change is almost in the industry. I mean, we talked to Ashton White on her way to reach out through social media, or the MCAA, and they are pushing new products or new technologies, things like that. Right. How involved are you in that type of thing? I mean, the change inside the industry.
I just a part of it, all the committees and all that I see, but. For instance, the robotics and things like that shouldn't be scary for a craftsman, in my opinion, because we're always going to need all types of it. And in fact, you go walk around a job site and see remodeling that, robots couldn't reach all kinds of the places we're working, but let's make it better. Let's make it healthier. Let's make, people not running, to the chiropractor so often, or whatever.
Exactly where I was headed.
Yeah.
I have that same thought of, oh man, I don't want to be a Luddite, but what are we going to do with these people if robots replace them? That's not what it is. It's actually extending these guys' careers, so they're able to work longer by not beating their body to pieces.
When you think about that, and you think about how sometimes people plant the seeds early on about what's going to happen on in the future, with robotics and everything. Is that when they first started talking about it years ago, and Mike Rowe was a big proponent about the trades, maybe they saw the future in trying to get more people in the trades, knowing that robotics are going to take the place of some jobs, but we're going to need those hands-on people that can do the air conditioning, can do the carpentry, can do the painting, can do the masonry, the brick and the block laying. That's not, no matter what you do, that's not going to be replaced. So I think that seed was planted a while ago.
I agree. And there's also more cities, more places being, growing out of desert in that, where they're still going to need, a percentage of everything.
Yep. We when we look at something like an Uber driver, let's say you're a 50-year-old lady, that job is going to be gone eventually. Yep. So I think the pitch to the kids is pretty obvious. It's how do we give you a skill that you can take with you and take it with you anywhere in the country? I think that's probably the most exciting thing, that a lot of these programs we're developing are the same programs throughout the nation, where if you work in North Carolina today and you have to move to Arizona, you still have a job. You're still trained a lot of the same ways as the guys in that market.
That's true.
I think you guys are instrumental in that.
Yeah, and we're going to live a long time, now.
So Dick.
From your mouth to God's ears, Dick. Thank you. You heard Dick say that, right?
Book it. I hope we're part of the group. But when you think of when you go to a funeral or whatever, they're older and older, and people are living into their 90s regularly, and so you can't go. In my opinion, you can't retire at 55, 65 and do 35 years, I think people are going to work longer. And so, when I started as a tender, it was insane. And we'd have one bricklayer who's 5'2" on one end of it, and the other guy who's 6'4" on the other end of the scaffold, and they're different heights, and it's hard on their body. And now with the elevated platform scaffold, it's all good. It's better for your back, the lightweight block units, and
the hydromobiles bringing up. They got elevators now. You can bring all that stuff up, and you don't have to be walking up and walking down. So,
and it's beautiful. And then when you go and travel and see the restoration projects, and they do it the same. And they last for decades. Bricklayers always talk about it takes longer to go wherever they're going because their family has to endure them stopping to point at every building they worked on. and it's just a thing. I lived that. It was they're proud, and they should be. And when I was young, I worked, and I loved it. I mean, these kids would love this story, but I mean, I would work on these projects with Vietnam vets. For the age I graduated in 81 in high school. Right. So in 79, 80, and 81, there were Vietnam vets, there were World War II vets, Korea, and there were men. And it was so incredible. And we'd sit on the tailgate after work and at lunch, and I'd listen to them, and I was worried about getting a girlfriend or whatever. Yeah. And when they were my age, they were landing on beaches and stuff like that. And so they were honorable, and I enjoyed interacting with them. And at the end of the day, I shared the wall with them. All I did was, sweat and shovel mud, and they didn't like when I mixed mortar because every batch was different. So, but
which is why you need specmix mortar with the consistency of the blend. Okay, sorry, that was our little plug that we had in there.
Exactly.
So, what happens after the MCAA? What's Dick gonna do?
Still be active in MCAA. I always say that all the people in these groups and the people in the NCMA, the North Carolina group, if they were in some other industry, they'd be active in that. And, there's Fortune 500 companies that send people off to seminars and training things. That all happens here, and I get pumped up by it. I always go back to the office, and I'm so more driven to take what I've learned. And like I say, it's you pick from people who are willing to share with you. Right. You think you know a lot, and then you find out there's something you didn't know, and it's
Ryan was talking quite a bit about that, about kind of the family of all these different companies, and for a day or for that weekend or whatever, it's not competitors. I know a lot of them aren't because of their location, but some are. I mean, some work in the same markets, and yet they're still there sharing ways to advance the industry.
And if you don't participate in that stuff, you're just cutting yourself short. There's a lot of very successful people who just choose not to, but there's something to be gained. And I think I bet you tomorrow, I've never been to this event before, but I bet you after they do their stuff, these young journeymen, young bricklayers, craftsmen are going to be huddling around looking at each other's stuff and pointing and talking about it like after a game. And we do that in our industry when we have these conventions and that, we get together and we talk about bad jobs. And at my age, sometimes my prostate wakes me up in the morning, and I hate that because I'll end up thinking about payroll, and then you can't fall back asleep. And so, but we
I never thought I would hear prostate and payroll in the same sentence ever.
But my point is, you endure challenges, and then when you come to the conventions like we go to, you talk to other people who have the same problems. Yeah. They might have 300 people, and this guy might have 30 people, but they're having the same issues. Yeah. And it's good to spend time with people who are going through what you're going through. And
you have to. We see contractors, general contractors, when they're bidding these jobs, the schedules get faster and faster and faster. And logistics alone has got to be a nightmare. That one topic, I'd imagine that's got to capitalize a lot of time at these meetings.
The most recently for us, and what I'm hearing others say, it's just there's a lot of change happening in how the architect, owner, the general contractor, right, and the communication. We're way down on the feeding, order there, and we're often stuck with the most liability, and it's just the communication. Nobody wants to talk anymore. It's a text and email. It's so hard to get validation on what's happening and which.
But they built it on paper, Dick. They were able to build it on paper. Get on board.
First started working, we'd do a school edition, a big, great big job, and it'd be a folder like this thick, and that was, it was that, and then maybe some payroll timesheets, but not now. It's a whole different story. So there's challenges there again. Even though we're building the same buildings, it's different.
We had Jeff Buckowitz on one of our episodes.
He's a decent guy. You got to give him time.
He is But he talked about how the skills challenge is expanding for the specmix bricklayer 500, and you guys just find a way to get more and more kids involved, and it's so great. You're definitely the workforce development, everything that the MCAA is doing is amazing, and I don't know what the future holds for kids, but you guys are definitely making huge strides in getting these kids involved, and that's important.
It's exciting, and specmix is so important part of it. And it's that whole brand thing. I remember thinking, is this a bit too much? How is this even going to work? But it's because I didn't understand modern day social media and all that. And that's what they want. It's got to be exciting. And it is exciting. We just got to tell people about it. And to be honest, our industry was asleep at the wheel for a while on it. So we are leading the way now, though, and have been for a while.
I think so. And there's always some new research, some new developments going on. And Jeff had his little bag with his little reading the wall. He loves that.
We can't wait to see that in action. What a neat idea. Something that can objectively judge a wall.
Because believe it or not, there's sometimes issues with that about who it's like judging whether someone's foot was in or out of bounds on a touchdown.
I was just going to say the refs need that in the NFL because that was holding. I swear that was holding, and that cost me.
Well, we're 37 minutes in. You might want to introduce yourself to everybody. Tell them what you do now that we're that far in.
Oh, gosh. Dick Dentinger is my name. I'm a contractor for B&D Associates in St. Paul, Minnesota. My parents had a company in Milwaukee for years. And now I'm on the board outgoing chairman in a couple of months for Mason Contractors Association of America. And I'm here representing them and happy to do so. Excited for tomorrow.
We are excited to have you here on the SpecMix Pro Series podcast. Who's next? Who's the next chairman? Can you tell us, or do you guys just pick names out of a hat?
We got to wait for the blood work to come back, but we're hoping Kent Huntley from North Carolina. So we're in good hands. Okay. He's fantastic.
Well, and, he'll probably be out here tomorrow.
Absolutely, we're gonna see him tonight yet. Yep, right. Kent is fantastic, and that's I appreciate and been coming to the MCA since the '90s. And there's just every kind of personality you can think of, and they all take their turn, and it helps keep us on our toes and make sure we're watching Jeff.
Okay, we have to give you the question that we've been asking everybody. Tell us something that nobody else knows. Tell us something that nobody else knows. We want to have it right here. I got you on the spot, Dick. Come on.
Well, because I see him coming up here. Our executive director, Jeff Buckowitz, he's very cheap.
Okay.
He's extremely cheap.
Did he make you pick up lunch?
Oh, it is hard. He did have the rental car today, but it was budget, and we had to wait in line because we had to get the best deal. So,
I love it.
But no, it's that's what I'll give you. But Jeff, actually, if Jeff were a mason contractor, he'd probably be the biggest in the country. He's a go-getter, and he's watching out for us. So,
we love Jeff. He was a great guest, and filled us in on the our nice little 3D project.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
Everything new.
So we're excited. Great to see you. We'll see you tomorrow out here and see what's going on. Do you have a winner? Do you know who's in the stalls?
I don't. Like I say, I've never been here, and I can't wait to go back to my home state and tell them about the busloads of high schoolers who have already laid a block and brick.
We got 11 stalls. All right. Pick a number between 1 and 3. All right. If 3 wins, we're going to Vegas because that means this guy has got it going on.
Let's do it. I'll be there. You know it. So
very cool. Well, thanks for hanging out, Dick. We really appreciate it, man.
Very nice to meet you.
Very cool. All right, let's find somebody else that wants to tell us what nobody else knows.